Hello, my friends. Today we're going to start talking about fractions. Yesterday we started a new unit, 9.1, over fractions. And so we talked about equal and unequal parts and how fractions have to be equal. Okay? Fraction has to be equal. So today we're going to read a little bit more from that book that we started, and we're going to learn about fractions. So I'm going to read a few pages here for you, and then we'll talk more about fractions. So looking over here, you can use words and pictures to talk about fractions. You can use numerals too. Remember, numerals are numbers. Okay, look over here at this picture. We're going to look at the picture first. If you look, 3 blocks are red. Out of how many blocks altogether? 4. So if you look down here, 3/4 are red. Those are your words. And here's your numerals, 3/4. That's what it looks like. Now here's something I want to point out to you. The line for the fraction is kind of curvy. Okay. Sometimes we have to make a slash, but a lot of times we can just do a straight line, a number on top of a number. Okay, so now let's look at the yellow. The yellow, 1 block out of 4 of them are yellow. So that's my picture, but then I can also use words. 1/4 is yellow, and this is what the fraction 1/4 would look like with numerals. Okay, we're going to turn the page. We often use numerals to show fractions. The bottom numeral shows how many parts are in the whole thing. The bottom shows how many parts are in the whole thing. The top numeral shows how many parts we're talking about. Okay, so the top is just how many we're talking about or how many are shaded in. So let's look at this picture over here. This stoplight has 3 parts. 3 parts. 1 light is on. The other 2 lights are off. So if we're going to talk about the lights that are on, how many lights are on? 1. So my top number is just 1. How many parts are there all in the whole thing? Right, 3. So the 3 is my bottom number. Okay, now let's talk about the lights that are off. How many lights are off? 1, 2. 2 lights are off. How many lights are in the whole thing? 1, 2, 3. 2 lights out of 3 lights are off. One more page. Here are 10 bowling pins. 10 pins. When you go bowling, you always start with 10. If you don't, there's a problem because it should always start with 10. A ball knocks down 5 pins. 5 are still standing. What fraction of the pins fell down? So how many fell down? 5, right. How many are in the whole thing? 10. So 5 out of 10 fell down. Okay, let's read this side. There are 2 equal parts. 5 pins are standing and 5 pins have fallen. Now this is a little bit trickier and it's talking a little more complicated because we know that 10 is a double of 5 and 5. So each part is 1/2 of the whole. But I would just say 5 out of 10 pins fell down. Okay, let's go back to this page. This is going to be on your Schoology page for you to go back and look at. This is important for you to go back and look at when you are trying to remember what we know about fractions. I'm going to teach you 2 vocab words today. There's a name for that top number and that bottom number of that fraction. Okay, and I'm going to teach you those names. They're kind of hard to remember, but you're going to get it. So remember, a fraction shows equal parts of a whole. How many parts are in there? Okay, so the numerator is the top. Numerator is the top. Numerator is the top. The numeral on the top part of the fraction, so that's just the number. tells you how many parts we're talking about or how many parts are shaded. The easy way to remember this, the denominator is down. Denominator is down. They both start with D. Denominator, down. Denominator, down. And it's how many parts all together. How many parts are in the whole thing? Denominator, down. How many parts are in the whole thing? That's what this says over here. The numeral on the bottom part of the fraction, down, tells you how many equal pieces the whole is split into. Numerator's on the top, and it tells you how many we're talking about or how many are shaded. The denominator is down on the bottom, and it tells you how many pieces the whole thing is split up into. We're going to scroll down here just a little bit. This is something that we talked about before. Fractions have to have equal parts. This does not work. It's not equal. These parts are too big. This is way too small. This is not fractions. Look at how nicely these are cut apart. These are equal. So if we look at this one, 2 are shaded. So that's my top. Out of how many are all together in this? 4. 2 out of 4 are shaded. Let's look at this guy. How many are shaded? What's my top number? What's my numerator? Right, 2. 2 are shaded. How many are all together in the whole thing? That's my denominator. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right, my denominator is 6. Okay. So we're going to talk about numerator and denominator. I'm going to go back up here and I'm going to give you a few examples. Okay, so we're going to talk about the top number. So on these fractions that I show you, and actually I'm going to see if I can change this. Maybe. I thought I could. Nope. Oh, there it goes. Okay, it's just me now. I changed my screen. Okay, so we're going to talk about the numerator and the denominator. You have to remember those vocabulary words. Numerator and denominator. Denominator goes down on the bottom. Numerator goes on the top. Okay, so look at this fraction. Which number is my numerator? The number on the top. Right, 2. 2 is my numerator. Look at this one. Which number is my numerator? Remember, my numerator is the number on the top, and it tells me how many parts we're talking about or how many parts are shaded. Which number is the numerator? Right, 3. 3 is on the top. All right, look at this one. Which number is my numerator? Right, 7. So 7 parts would be shaded, or we would be talking about 7 parts. Look at this one. Which number is my numerator? Right, 1. 1 part would be shaded. It's the number on the top. Look at this one. Which number is my numerator? Right, 8. 8 is my numerator. It's my number on the top. And it tells me how many parts we're talking about or how many parts are shaded. All right, we're changing what we're doing here. Are you ready? Now we're going to talk about the denominator. Remember, the denominator is down on the bottom. And it tells me how many parts are in the whole thing. Which number is my denominator? Right, 6. 6 is on the bottom. It's down on the bottom. So my shape would be broken up into 6 equal parts, and 2 of them would be shaded. Which number is my denominator? The number on the bottom. Denominator is down on the bottom. Right, it's 5. Which number is my denominator? Right, it's 4. Which number is my denominator? Right, it's 10. 10 is down on the bottom, and it is how many equal parts my whole is broken into. So I would break that shape up into 10 equal parts. Last one. Which number is my denominator? It's kind of hard to see. The reflection is not working here. What's happening? Where'd it go? There it is. Right, 9 is the denominator. It's down on the bottom. Okay, so here's what I need you to remember. Let's see if I can go back to the screen. Okay, here we go. The numerator's on the top, and it's how many parts are shaded. The denominator's down on the bottom, and it's how many parts is the whole thing. How many parts are in the whole thing. Okay. All right. Thanks for watching, friends.